Watch your Geek. We're live.
Supposed to do that.
No, you don't have to.
That
We're
was
just
good.
Program,
That's
Kelly.
good.
Woo!
It's not like me.
Look, it's very exciting. Exciting times at Ridgemont High over here.
Yeah, we're just a little exuberant.
I may or may not have had 3 Diet Cokes today.
A lot of caffeine. So, for those of you that haven't noticed, Kelly Toole is here.
Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be, too. So thanks for having me.
And we are going to talk some 2014 Walking Dead fall finale.
Woo!
Yes, indeed.
Craziness. Craziness.
It was a very sad show for some people. My Twitter feed lit up with people crying, and I was not one of them.
Okay, because I had to watch the episode late, I had to avoid the internet for like 24 hours. So, which I did preemptively, and I'm told that this was a wise decision because apparently there were some spoilerific tweets out there. But I figure, you know, it was my choice to not watch it live. I'm not condoning spoiler behavior, but for my own purposes, if I didn't want to get spoiled and I know I'm going to be watching it late, I avoid all things internet until I can see it. So yeah, I was totally unspoiled on the episode, which and I have to admit my first thought was actually guilt related because I finally spoilers remembered her name, and so of course she died.
So you want to let the cat out of the bag, Kelly?
About what?
So Beth dies.
Oh, okay. That part, yeah. The thing that AMC posted immediately after the show in a poster, which really made a lot of people very happy.
The only thing that like made me upset was when somebody was tweeting that picture of Herschel hugging Beth, and it said like welcome home Junebug or something. And I was like, oh, now that's sad. I was like,
Yeah.
But when she died, I was both arms up. No more Beth episodes.
That's cold. That is so.
That is cold. Yeah,
Right.
I was definitely thinking, oh, this is my fault. I finally remembered Beth's name, and there she goes.
But she was I think my Lori for most people, or my Andrea.
Did she so Andrea got progressively worse for me. Lori got progressively worse. Beth, I thought they at least were making some. I never really had a lot of contempt for her. I could live without the songs and all that type of thing,
Right.
but I didn't have a lot of contempt for her. But my Twitter feed was also it was about 80-20 between dismay and pleasure in terms of what had happened there. But the big thing that Maggie needs to note is that it's not a good thing for the Green family when Rick does a negotiation because Rick's talking to the governor and Herschel loses his head. He's doing a deal and Beth's gone. So Maggie needs to, next time Rick starts talking to somebody, here, I'll fix this. She
Duck
needs
and cover.
to go to the back of the room.
She needs to just
Not you, Rick.
exactly.
Go have Glenn talk. Please.
Oh. And it's funny because I've spent the entirety of the fall season of Walking Dead going, really, Maggie? Not even going to ask about your sister? Like, not even once? And I like Maggie. Like, I enjoy Maggie as a character. I enjoy her typically more than Beth. Although I'm with you, Kelly, I didn't have, like, a serious hate on for Beth the way I did for Lori and for Andrea. I just... she was so boring. I could not remember her name at any given point. I was like, Maggie's sister, you know, the blonde one. What's her dude? Like, the only thing I did find memorable was that she sang a Tom Waits song. And she didn't necessarily do it justice, but she didn't do a terrible job. So, you know. But, yeah. And I was actually starting, I think, you know, they were making her a little stronger. I wouldn't go so far as to say interesting, but I thought there was definitely some character development there, which, along with me remembering her name, is usually a death knell in The Walking Dead. Oh, character development, and we're done.
Yeah, she lost me when she pulled that whole "I don't cry anymore" thing at the prison,
Yeah.
and then she pulled that out again on Sunday, and I was like, that's it. I have no time for this.
Ain't nobody got time for
I
that.
have no more tears, but I'm going to be a great nanny, and I'm going to sing songs to the baby. I just pick one.
What a horrible, horrible person. You're right, Jeans. That's a great point. She likes to sing to a baby. That's terrible.
No, what I'm saying is you're either an automaton with no emotions or you have emotions, but let's pick one.
Okay.
I can't follow a character that's like, I have no more tears to give. I'm going to sing a lovely song. What? No.
Yeah, she wasn't so much internally consistent.
It was bothersome.
Okay.
For me, she wasn't present enough to be bothersome. I found her really boring for the most part. So I didn't.
What do you guys think of this whole like hospital scenario that has been laid out through this past half season?
Creepy. One of the things that I always find with zombie apocalypse type settings, and I mean, I know this is a way of exploring human nature, through the post-apocalyptic process, and zombies are a great foil for this because they offer sort of an animalistic and an alien and a really kind of lack of humanity as a backdrop against which we can judge human behavior, right? So the question always seems to be with zombie things like, which are the real monsters? The zombies or the humans? And The Walking Dead has always made a real sort of interesting storytelling kind of attempt at this, and over and over and over again, the humans come out for me as the worst monsters. But they just seem to find new and unique ways to do that. We've had some fun at the Terminus, and oh god, the continuing efforts of the cannibals. And I did have to admit, I cheered a lot when Bob was sitting there laughing at him, one-legged and dying, that he was tainted meat. I was like, oh, I have never loved you more than right now, Bob. That was awesome. At the very last, I got the last word.
Yeah, except old Gareth was like, and they're all freaking, and Gareth was like, dudes, we cooked it. It's fine. It's like, what are you worried about? And
yeah, because there's a particular internal temperature that kills zombie plague.
Apparently. He's kind of his barista way he was going
he's
to.
A little
but
medium way.
Barista way, yeah, that's right. He's the foiled barista manager.
Yeah, he's the cannibalistic barista guy, which is a niche.
Starbucks again.
But, with his clipboard.
He totally spelled my name wrong.
And you're gonna be. But so I struggled and you need to guide me here a little too, Jeans. We're spoiling up to obviously most current episode of Walking Dead, but a couple of us also have comic background too, and I assume we probably just need to keep kind of at the same level, not go too far
keep them separated.
forward. But there's no hospital in the comic, so that's not a spoiler. But so this was, and to me it doesn't matter whether it's in or out of the comic, whether it's good or not. But there were just parts of it. It was incredibly creepy, as Bronwyn mentioned. But there were parts I didn't just get in terms of how terrifically horrific it appeared the majority of these police officers had become. And beating Santa Claus up in the aisle, and amongst much more vile things than that, and then to have the head of it kind of turn a blind eye to it. And it seemed like their stock and trade was, let's go hit somebody else to bring them in and abuse.
Yeah.
So
I didn't understand. Like there was like 5 people, like the whole hospital, and there's like 6 cops. All right, so there's 6 people plus what, like 4 people mopping up after. Like I don't understand how this was a system.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be a lot of horsepower there.
No.
But they managed to keep the place running with one doctor, which he was quite concerned about maintaining that ratio. And I mean, I suppose they have to keep the population relatively minimal to make it last with all of their supplies or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It just, yeah, it seemed like an awful lot of cops for a small population, and all of the cops were sort of horrible. Like, to some degree or another, they were all just the worst example of police officers out there. And, you know, like, I don't know, I don't have a lot of interaction with the police, you know, in general, just in my life. But, and I'm aware that, you know, there are personality traits that are drawn into that, you know, field that could potentially be negative or construed that way. But maybe it's my naivete, but I kind of think most cops are not evil assholes.
Yeah, my dad's was a cop for a long time, so I like grew up around that, and it was sort of bizarre to watch them because they were all huge jerks, all of them. Like even Dawn was just like I didn't quite understand what her motivation was through like half of this, and if I had to see her like in full regalia sitting on that stupid bike one more time, I was gonna shoot her myself.
Well, and oh my God, is she the queen of passiva aggressiva? Like, let's blame somebody else for every damn thing. Like, how did you get to be in charge?
And most cops that I came across, I mean, and there's always machismo. I mean, that's part of the job. But I mean, most of them liked, you know, people. And while they were a little bit, you know, troubled by a lot of the things that they had seen, they didn't tend to spill that out onto nice people so much, you know, and this was sort of, I don't know. It was like they had killed off all the nice cops.
And you know, maybe that was the story attempt at, you know, all of the good people are gone. Like, maybe good people make zombie fodder, and, you know, maybe that's true, but that doesn't necessarily bode well for the future of our species, does it?
You know, any environment that can turn Officer Andy into such a horrible person into this thing is just because you know you're familiar, Jeans, with from Eureka. That Gorman was Andy.
Exactly.
Which is like
much better as an android.
I was like, yeah, he had a much better disposition before. He was a little quirky, but he kind of took a dark turn there at the end. So it's unfortunate. But it was clean. You got to give him that. That's the cleanest group of survivors I've seen in this entire series.
How many times can you mop a floor after 6 people? What? Really? Like, I didn't understand. There was just something missing there that I don't know if they fell out onto the floor in the editing process, but there was just,
There was nothing to mop because there was nobody else there. So I was like, what am I
There's
cleaning?
an old guy with like a sandwich and what, like a strawberry?
Strawberries, yeah, I guess they're messy. They're messy.
The hallway.
I know. I couldn't figure that out. Okay, A, where are the strawberries coming from? I mean, I know they're growing stuff, but seriously, strawberries? Really? That's the way we're gonna go? But B, is this like a Firefly reference or something like that? You know, where Book bribes Kaylee with strawberries and to come on the ship when he can't really afford to pay. Like, that's where I went with that, was right to Firefly, which I thought was a great little nod, if unintentional. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, with The Walking Dead, part of the beauty of it is that there's a lot of intensity in every episode, so there isn't necessarily the need to focus on all of the details that don't necessarily line up all of the time.
Yeah, but we could have used a couple for this hospital. Just to square it a little bit, because it's just like,
every time they would cut to her, she was cleaning something, and I'm like, how much is there to clean? There's not that many people there. Like, what? Like, can't she be gardening on the roof or something? I don't understand.
I really think she should have been gardening, especially if you're going to have fresh strawberries.
Like, and wouldn't that elevator shaft just reek to high heaven? Why would you hang out there for some peace and quiet? All those dead bodies at the bottom. What is wrong with you?
I keep thinking about this constantly. Like, the smell of the zombie apocalypse must be horrifying. Like, I hope somebody has raided a Bath and Body Works at some point, because damn.
Well, and I was thinking about that today, because you don't see like Maggie wearing like a backpack. You don't see them like carrying stuff.
No.
So clothing wise, like
Yeah. What you see is what you get.
yeah.
Yeah. They don't smell good.
And
I choose to believe that they've gotten to the point where their olfactory is overstimulated and they just can't smell each other anymore.
We were talking about being nose deaf. Is that the
yeah.
Nose, yeah.
nose? Kind of tied to that too. You know, at the end it was, you know, so there's the standoff and all that goes on, and then they settle down, and Rick's like, well, any of you want to come can come with us if you want. And I started to say, yeah, play that. You know, if you're sitting on the other side there, okay, there's these bunch of really grubby, and you got Daryl looking like a Muppet, and you know, they're not the cleanest looking group in the world. You want to all come with us, you can. You got pretty faces, you know, and it's just like, I don't think too many people are going to take them off because it's not a good group.
I don't know. They do look scruffy, but
like
they also
haggard.
look like they care about each other. Yes, haggard. You're right. That's a better word. And honestly, Dawn is just so damn creepy. And now she's dead, and their whole power structure is gone, and they're down to a handful of dirty cops and that old guy mopping the floor. So I'm really not sure what their incentive is to stay either. They're gonna run out of resources at some point, and frankly, you're right. Like, even for nose deaf, that elevator is not okay.
Yeah.
It's just not. So I don't know. I'm not sure I see the appeal of staying at the hospital right now either, you know, considering the shenanigans that have been happening there.
And no good sewers left either, it looks like, because apparently the old guy was really bad. He was bad enough to get a beat down in the hallway for his sewing skills. So
Or his lack thereof. Yeah.
That's the worst thing that's happened since the apocalypse.
I didn't understand why Dawn had to go and twist that. I mean, it was 2 people for 2 people, and you know, I know she obviously likes to show that she's in control of things, but that was a really stupid move on her part.
Oh yeah.
Asking for, what is his name?
Noah,
asking for Noah after she'd already gotten her 2 people back, and she'd already handed over Carol and Beth, and then she was like, no, he's got to stay here. And I was just like, you know,
what leverage did they have to make that actually happen? Like, my thing was, it was a stupid thing to ask for, but it was also stupid of Rick and them to not just back slowly out and be like, F you and the horse you rode in on.
yeah. Although Dawn had drawn her weapon at that point in time.
Yeah, but Daryl can outshoot anybody.
She doesn't know that yet. She's about to find out. She doesn't know that yet. But yeah, it was. I mean, I just assume it was a little bit more. She had, you know, Colonel Klink disease, where, you know, she had Noah had you know, she can't really let it stand that someone escaped or left on their terms, and so I think just her need to control and being a horrible person, she was saying, oh yeah, and he needs to come back too, because because I don't have a ward. What am I going to do? I don't have a ward. This is a huge problem.
I don't have someone to clean things.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't know. It just, she was just so, you know, like, there are terrible people. Like, I mean, the governor was arguably more terrible than Dawn. You know, Dude Face the Cannibal Boy was arguably more terrible than Dawn. But she was really, like, icky and annoyingly bad because she seemed to really want to convince people that she wasn't bad. Like, she was a terrible person who really wanted to be liked. Like, I'm going to treat
really
you
manipulative
on
a level that, you know, I mean we've seen some really manipulative people on the show, but I think she brought that to a whole nother level with the way that she made, like you were saying, like she has to blame people all the time for everything, and she has to put people in their place constantly. And I don't know if that's because she's surrounded by these other horrible people, and so the only way she feels that she can manage them is to show that she's still more horrible than they are. I don't know. It was just a weird move and unavoidable. The whole situation was avoidable. The look on her face when her going, no, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, unfortunately, I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying, not meaning it's not gonna put her skull back together.
Yeah.
Well, but now, and this is like I said in the arc, I'd never been a Beth hater, and I thought overall there were some things that kind of they helped. She was never the strongest character, but she was all right, for my tastes at least. But at the end, I can't figure out what she was thinking to say, okay, I've now reached this, so this is a dramatic point, and I'm going to stick you with the smallest pair of scissors possible in your body armor in a non-fatal area, and this is going to go well. I don't know what she was thinking.
Well, but she has never exactly been what we call long on imagination, okay? She is the buttercup of The Walking Dead. She's sweet, she's pretty, she's blonde. Intelligence has never been the reason she is there.
Yeah, she stuck her in the shoulder, and I was like, why wouldn't you do the eye, or,
People freak out if you go near their eyes. If you only have a tiny weapon, you have to go for a tiny spot. Go for the eye.
The first episode of the season, as they're getting ready to go out, Rick's like, go for their eyes, go for their eyes. It's like, that's what you want to...
Exactly. Well, never mind the fact that you're in the zombie apocalypse, where everybody knows the only thing that works is a headshot. Why would you poke her in the shoulder? Even if you managed that, 1 in a billion chance fatal shoulder wound, she's still going to come back as a zombie if you don't get her in the face. Put those scissors right in their eye through to her brain. Done. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not. I was like, I would have gone a different way.
Well, when she had her brains splattered all over the place, it was more the ruining of her hair and the fact that she was no longer going to live, and not so much the waste of brains.
But even with a massive headshot, the hair held up pretty well. I thought, by and large, it was still. Daryl's carrying her out, still looked pretty nice. So
yeah.
She always had good hair. You got to give that to Beth. Her hair was always good.
Surprising lack of blood, given the fact that it was a head wound.
Yeah.
Not a big brain up there to bleed.
I guess. I
think we've established that pretty thoroughly.
But you would expect if you're carrying somebody out, you would expect lots of blood coming off the back. Soaked down the neck. You would expect it just kind
of dripping from point of impact, and not just blood. I mean, not to get overly graphic, but really not just blood.
No, there would be. I mean, JFK would be little brains.
Well, there's brains, there's bone, there's tissue.
Right.
There's also the fact that whole area controls the rest of your body, and it's not going to end well. There will be loss of bladder control, among other things, very quickly.
Which you got to think Daryl'd be bitching about a lot. He'd be like, "Please, really?"
It's not like I have shower facilities, okay? But I did feel bad for Maggie. Finally, we have some acknowledgement. So clearly, she has thought that Beth is dead all this time, and while that does make her reactions a little bit better, I still haven't figured out how she just went. I mean, no, I shouldn't say that. You're in the zombie apocalypse, you haven't seen her for a few days, yeah, she's probably dead. That's a fair assumption. But they just carried on. There was no mourning of Beth. So if she thought Beth was really dead, why wasn't she sadder about this whole thing at the beginning? Or, she just hasn't asked about her, she just wrote her off. We get to the end.
Go ahead.
Well, we get to the end, and they're like, no, Beth's alive. And Maggie's like, yay, my sister! Woo! And then she comes to see her, and yay, I'm going to see my sister. And oh, now she really is dead. Maggie's like, oh. That was a cruel moment.
The only thing that I could think of was that these guys tend to lose and find each other constantly. And so perhaps she was just holding off, okay, well, I'm not sure where she's at. she could still be alive, because they do tend to sort of weave in and out of each other's lives. They separate and come together, separate and come together, separate and come together. So maybe, that was sort of. Yeah. See, now I can hear that echo again.
This is going to be a fun one to edit.
So I'm not one for always staying on top of the details. I miss them a lot, so I get that. But I don't think, when we go back to the kind of the beginning, when the prison fell apart and all that,
right.
I don't think that Maggie had any more information about Glenn's being alive or dead than
right.
she did Beth. And that was the part that always threw me, is that, she was on this, it was all about Glenn and those types of things, with not even a mention, with, to me, probably about the same level of confidence one way or another. Well, I guess she didn't know who, if Beth was on her own, odds might not be as great, as she kind of drew a good straw there to kind of have, if you're going to have a buddy in there, she picked a good one with Daryl to kind of weather post prison. But yeah, that gap was huge.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between how she handled not knowing about Glenn and how she handled not knowing about Beth. A little more urgency to find her husband.
It was a bit crazy. Like, just, I don't know, like, not to say that I wouldn't be freaking out to find my husband. Certainly, like in a zombie apocalypse, I'd be looking around for my boyfriend pretty thoroughly. But my sister is, yeah, like, I'd be pretty devastated. I'd be needing to find my sister. And certainly, like, if I happen to find Steve before I found my sister Margie, I would be like, okay, now we have to go find my sister, because, yeah, I need to find my sister.
Right.
And the Dixon brothers showed greater sibling support than Maggie and Beth. If you kind of go back through that, you should reflect on that. Although I would have loved to have seen Merle in the hospital. That would have been pretty cool. He and Dawn would have made a nice pair.
Oh, God. Oh, they have creepy little zombie apocalypse babies.
Just kind of assume they'd have babies.
Well, this is the thing we have not addressed yet.
With the little bayonets, the babies.
And master manipulators. But I mean, at some point, somebody's got to start thinking and talking about repopulating, right? I mean, I'm surprised it hasn't come up before now.
Yeah, that's although babies in the apocalypse does not seem to be a good deal. But Judith's doing okay. Although when Father Gabriel was trying to come back into the church there, and she was on Michonne's back, looks like she was getting quite the ride as that was going on.
Yeah. And let's talk about that clown for a minute, shall we? Because that guy.
Because that guy.
Clown to you.
I knew that somebody was going to die in this episode, and I mean, I'm sorry, I know you're not a fan of Beth, but I was really, really, really hoping that guy was going to be the one who bit it. Like, seriously. Like, I'm sorry. I know he's not actually evil the way some of these other people are evil, but he's so ineffectual. He just makes me want to punch him in the nose all of the time.
He's not added a lot of value.
I am oddly enough drawing a blank on Mullet Man.
Eugene?
Yes. So I think that Father Gabriel and Eugene should be buddies. I think that they should be, like, have to hold hands or wear, like, a buddy shirt, through the rest of the apocalypse.
Oh, I like it.
Great big buddy t-shirt all the way through the apocalypse, the two of them, since they're completely useless. They can work together to be less useless. I don't know, but...
I'm with stupid shirts.
Yeah. And I have to say, let's talk a little bit about Abraham real quick.
The garden gnome.
I hate that guy.
He was sitting on his knees for so long, and Kelly tweets he wants an Abraham garden gnome, and I'm like, he'll just sit in your garden and feel sorry for himself. I'm
sad.
Worst gnome ever.
I got outsmarted by a guy with a mullet.
Oh my God.
I will say that did actually give a really good platform for Maggie to step up and sort of get in charge for a moment or two, and I really liked that a lot.
Yeah, I thought she handled that really well. I was deeply, deeply excited to hear any version of "Suck It Up, Princess."
And he was quite the powder there. I don't want any water. Leave me alone.
Exactly. Like when little kids have a really bad day and they just insist on making it that much worse.
Oh,
That's exactly what he was like. Yeah, it was painful. It was really, yeah.
the zombie apocalypse is no place for the power pout.
Which is, yeah, that's what that was. That was
Oh,
awesome.
epic power pout. And not even a cute one. Like, I'm sorry, but no.
You know what? I did not need to see that man naked. I'm just gonna say that now.
No, thank you.
I didn't
And then Chris Hardwick has to go and say dolphin smooth, and it's just that much worse.
I didn't need to hear him say that. That was
okay.
Too soon.
I don't care that it was dark. It wasn't dark enough. I mean, and there were like 2 episodes where it was like pitch black and we couldn't see anything, and everybody in my Twitter feed's complaining. And I have to say, it wasn't dark enough because I didn't need to see that man naked. Anyway, I like him as an actor. He's great and he's fun on Twitter, but
no, his body is its own light source. When you're that white, it just glows and it's dark. Like, not okay. Not okay. Oh no, I broke jeans.
Yep.
Yeah, that almost came right back out.
Jeans may turn on us here, so we'll have to watch. We gotta eat scissors. We gotta be ready here. Get her in the shoulder.
There, yeah, you gotta get me right here though.
Fatal shoulder wound.
Go put some body armor on first, and we'll just so you can make sure there's not any real damage. Yeah, the whole dolphin smooth and the luminescent butt are two special things about Abraham. But but the other part on the whole pouting thing, because I'm fairly certain, again, not a detail guy, but I'm fairly certain he was in sad Abraham down on his knees in front of the fire engine. And then on the next scene, he's like, okay. And he walked to the back of the fire engine and resumed the exact same on my knees pout position. Which is like a 6-year-old saying, did you not see me throw my tantrum? Let me crawl over here and maybe.
He very much was like that. Honest to God, it was brutal. I'm like, I didn't like him when he was acting like a grown man because he was a jerk. I really don't like him as a jerky child pouting because he didn't get his own way. Like, it's the apocalypse, dude. Everybody's doing what they can to survive. You are yelling and screaming and generally being obnoxious to keep your ass alive. He's smarter than you, of which all of you should be ashamed. He made it go.
Yeah, and I can see how somebody with like a military background would not take that well. I mean, I get it, but it was an epic tantrum.
I'm thinking that right now Eugene's lying too. It's like he's not been unconscious at all. I mean,
he's just afraid.
I'm gonna pretend.
Well, and I think he wants to see how long the pout will last. Because I mean, I'm interested.
Well, and that's the other thing too is how did they get the fire engine to work?
Right? How did it go from oh no, we can't possibly make it go to oh it's fine?
And then fire truck. What? No.
And it's still beyond me how it's like they pull up, so they are within sight of the world's largest zombie farm ever, and they say, looks like a good place to make camp, and they could you could just like that could turn bad soon. They'll hear
really
you. Maybe
quickly.
The wind will change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And honestly, I'm surprised Tennessee Top Hat was actually alive at all, because I really thought when Maggie was like, oh, what's that noise? That the noise was him turning zombie and getting up to kill everybody. Like, I really did. I thought he was zombified for sure.
And considering his behavior in the self-help section of the library where we were all blessed with the dolphin moon.
Mid-coitus?
And how he was watching that and stuff like that. I was really, and there is a piece of that comes in from the comics as well. it bothered me, number one, that he was watching them. Number two, that he tried to like give somebody justification for watching. Number three, that Abraham was like, no, 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 no.
In all fairness, you're in a house in the dark that you know you're sharing with like 6 other people. It's the apocalypse. There are no electronic noises. There is no white noise here. There is no anything. You're not getting a moment alone sharing in a place like that. So having noisy sex in the library was, perhaps not the call for privacy.
But the thing that bothered me, yeah, I agree. However, I still think that he was like, I see, no foul. Well, clearly she's uncomfortable with you watching. Clearly.
Crossing the line for sure. The watching was crossing the line.
Yeah, and then for Abraham to just be like, meh, like, no, excuse me, but you need to go handle that, sir. Yeah. You have something going on here that not everybody gets to do, so why don't you take care of it properly?
Can we talk for a minute also about how low her standards must have gotten? Because you don't have access to birth control, and that guy is not worth it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it. I mean, from the available from the pool. I mean, I think because your next option is Eugene, so it's like that's not.
So you're saying that Abraham is the lesser of two evils, is what
he's
you're saying?
He's the lesser of two evils there, and they were
this
just.
This is why I'm going to go with.
Well, I'll let you. That can be your official position. I'm going to not opt into that. And I'm going to suggest a large blanket could have solved this problem. The one that
there you go.
butt blocking capabilities. And if they just covered up a little more, no shelter, we'd all be happy. Everyone wins.
Okay, but I'm sorry. Like, she's mid-coitus with a creepy-ass guy who doesn't mind that his even creepier-ass friend is watching.
Yeah.
And this guy is so connected to his creepier-ass friend that the minute he finds out he's been lying, he's done. He's done with living. He's done with everything. He's done with the girl he's been, mid-coitus with. Yeah, seriously, she means so little to him that the fact that Eugene lied to save his own life is so destructive that that's it. He's done. Abraham's out. That's it. Yeah, no, she can do better even in the zombie apocalypse.
I will agree with that statement.
She could do worse. She could do worse too.
Yes, she could. It's true.
Gareth, again, good looking, the barista guy,
Oh, he's smarmy looking though. He's he is. Against the actor, but he's just
so smarmy.
Yeah, something
smart
about
Madonna.
I loved the portrayal. I thought, it was just. It was made your skin crawl, but it was good. I do think 2 monologues while you're eating the person, eating, as he's eating Bob in front of Bob, to have 2 long monologues.
In poor taste.
Seemed a little excessive.
Just stop talking. The whole season, every time he opened his mouth, I just wanted him to be quiet. That's all. I just stop. Shh. No, stop.
Much to ask. Like,
just I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's supposed to be annoying and he's supposed to be self-righteous and all that, and I get it. But he was so well written because you really just. I mean, you were like ready to throw things at the television to get him to stop talking.
Yeah.
I had plushies right around for that, like little plush cat toys for that purpose. Stop talking.
Yeah, he was well done.
Yeah, I like that.
Done. Okay. All right. So I think is there anything else we want to talk about? Anything else? So how do we think Daryl's going to do moving forward?
I think we need to spend a lot of this season, version 2.0, like the second half of this season, with Daryl, trying to find out, how he's doing and what he's doing, because we have not had nearly enough Daryl this season. I'm just saying. He is essentially the reason I watch the show, so.
he could use a haircut. We all know that. So he's due.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe a shower. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we could take that down a notch, but still.
I'm thinking for Daryl, he kind of was emulating Rick, and then he started to go, I don't know, and then Tyrese and the whole let's negotiate because I'm a big toodaloo, and let's do this instead. So then he started to go with Tyrese, and you saw how that worked out for Beth. So I think when we come back, Daryl's going to be all about Eugene, and Daryl and Eugene are going to become inseparable, and it'll be, you could hit that thing with the crossbow if you aimed right there, and I'll go hit it with the crossbow, and they're going to just both grow mullets together and wear jorts together, and it's going to be beautiful.
No.
Daryl and jorts.
No.
You'll have like a little fake crossbow, little Nerf crossbow, and Daryl have his real crossbow.
And Kelly just ruined The Walking Dead.
No, I think if they're going to do that, though, I really think that that he needs to find one of those like child leashes for Eugene. You know, those ones that you see the parents with in the mall, so that they don't get lost in the clothing racks.
Like the plushie, so it's like a backpack, but it's like a teddy bear, and it's wrapped around.
Monkey, yeah.
Exactly. I think we need one of those for Eugene. Or Abraham, really, because he was pouting like a 5-year-old.
Just dragging him along on his
exactly. knees. I can just picture him like sitting on his rear end, getting dragged.
These are Michonne's new people. She had the zombies on leashes. Now she can have Abraham and Eugene on leashes.
Let me just see Abraham from here on out traveling in that kind of kneeling stance. It's just like, we need to get a pickup truck so I can sit back there, and he'll just sit there and be sad. Just have to kind of pick him up and move him over.
And then he's going to have like a little speech bubble over his head that just says, "Oh, Muffin."
I don't think Daryl's going to be happy. If Daryl doesn't turn into Eugene's clone, then I think he'll be very angry and kind of out Rick here. Now that Rick... By the way, we never did mention, so what do you think of that whole start of the episode, Rick's problem-solving approach?
Oh, the problem-solving approach whereby he runs his problem over with the cop car?
Yeah, and then shoots him and tells him to shut up after he's dead.
I am so completely on board with that problem-solving technique. I was pretty thrilled. I was just like, oh my god, can that guy please stop talking? And then Rick shoot him in the head, and I was like, awesome. That should really happen more frequently. Like, if that had happened a little sooner with Dawn, we'd still have Beth. Sorry.
I thought it was a little odd for Rick to treat him like a horse with a broken leg, but because that's sort of what it was. It was like, hey, I think you broke my spine. Oh yeah, okay, I'll put you out of your misery. Bang. Why not just
I think that was kind
off and let the zombies have him?
He wasn't going anywhere.
Why waste the ammunition? I mean, I hate to be crappy, but you don't have a whole lot of that, and it's kind of hard to find. Yeah, he's got a broken spine. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and they dialed it up.
I'm just going to drive away and let you suffer. No. But stop talking first.
And he was like, he didn't stop. What do you expect me to do? That's what you do when someone doesn't stop. You ram them and then you shoot them. So, but they just dialed that whole thing up because there were some just subtle things like the car he was in was that guy's car, which included on the dashboard, if you go back and watch at the beginning, there's a photo of him with his son on the tape to the dashboard. So it's like, hey, in case you're clear, Rick's about to run over a guy that had a kid. So just, be clear on that. And then, the guy, you do have to pick him
over with his own car.
His own car. Probably didn't take the photo out and wave it at him. Look at that. Remember that back when it wasn't broken?
He was a jerk. And in the zombie apocalypse, if you're going to be a jerk to Rick, I mean, that's pretty much what, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, never talk smack when your arms are tied behind your back. Never talk smack when you've been rammed and your back's broken. Never talk smack when the guy's standing over you with a gun. These are the times to be quiet.
basically only talk smack if you know you already have the upper hand. And really, it's probably not a good idea even then.
Yeah.
Wait for him to say, I'm smarter than you.
Oh
As
my.
long as the Daryl Eugene friendship that you were predicting doesn't involve Daryl ending up with the mullet, then I think we have hope for version 2.0. But yeah.
I really hope, and I know that everybody, and I have to bring this up because it pleases me greatly that they can't make a combination name out of Carol and Daryl.
It's very hard to, yes.
I like that because I don't want to see that because that drives me crazy. But I was actually, obviously in the moment when the two of them were laying on that bed in that bunk bed.
Mm-hmm.
That was obviously like prime moment for the two of them to get together, and everybody sort of went yay, oh no, but I'm kind of glad they didn't.
Oh, yep, me too, because it's always nice to actually see a complicated male-female relationship that isn't strictly or at least primarily sexual. But honestly, if I have to watch freaking Dolphinback have sex, then I would at least like the relationship between the only two people that I actually like. Okay, so no, I would be happy to see Rick with somebody attractive. Rick is lovely, but I just, no, I need, no, we need to get some Daryl.
What's funny actually is, there's all these like, if you go and you look if you Google Andrew Lincoln, there's all these photographs of like him on vacation with his family. It's really cute, actually. Someone pointed this out to me, so I had to go look anyway. The point is, he's like on vacation with this extremely gorgeous family, and his wife is really pretty, and she's very well dressed, and his children are impeccably dressed. They're all very neat and tidy, and then there's like Andrew Lincoln with his long, crazy, hair and his beard, and he's just like, because he's like that for the show, but it's just when his family goes on vacation, and I guess it's paparazzi pictures probably, but it's just sort of funny.
It's like, well, you can't actually cut your hair or shave your beard or clean up at all because you're supposed to look haggard. So, sorry, but you have to take your lovely wife and kids and look like that.
But I do think, spoiler, I do think we get back to a clean-shaven Rick Grimes here in the second half of the season, based on some things. So.
I think I know, it was something that Kirkman had said when he was on The Talking Dead afterwards, that he was actually sort of relieved that Rick still has his hand, because in the comic he doesn't have his hand, so it's like really awkward for him to get through and do things sometimes, and he has to ask for help a lot, so they have to work it in. So I'm glad that they're letting him keep his hand too, I have to say.
Yeah, so far, which is a good thing.
I know. I hope they don't do that to him.
That would be unfortunate if they do that. There'll be some very interesting things coming up to see what they go with and what they don't go with. But going back to the whole Daryl, Carol in the bed scene,
yes,
what would have made that perfect if I was writing The Walking Dead and they're going through, and this is playing off a little bit more of my other plan here, is that they're there and they both kind of turn to each other and they start going, it's kind of nice to be here. And then all of a sudden, Eugene flops down in between the two of them. Oh, guys, what you doing?
Oh, no.
He's that guy. He's that color for me.
He's totally that guy. Yeah, for sure he is that guy. Oh, no.
Let's go get some jorts, all of us. Let's go. Come on.
Oh, my God. That's Eugene, Daryl, and Carol. This is my other brother, Daryl.
Team Jort.
This is my friend, Carol.
Just awesome.
Oh, man. But, okay, I am curious about the direction, and you guys will maybe know more about this as comic book readers, but I'm curious about the direction we're going to go for the second half of this season, because really we've kind of had 3 big bads in the first half of this season.
There's a really much worse, crazy, nuts. I mean, he makes the governor look like a school teacher.
Yeah, which
in the comic.
Yikes. I'm kind of looking forward to, but really not looking forward to meeting this guy. But it just, because we had the tail end of Terminus, then we had the continuation of the cannibalistic tendencies, and then we had the hospital, which was really not in any way pleasant. So And now, but we don't have anything looming.
And
really.
I wanted to say too, I was under the impression that we were going to start following more closely with the comic, and that was sort of, and people started getting kind of excited, and I was too, because I think that's really great, with the exception of one thing that better not happen. But the hospital is not in there, and Terminus.
Yeah,
is not.
The hunters are, so
right. There's a little pack of roving cannibals moving around. Yeah, but Terminus is not in there, and the hospital's not in there. So I was like, I don't understand.
It doesn't sound like we're leading in a good closer to the comic books direction.
Yeah.
No,
well, they are. I think they are, though. I mean, in general, in terms of, because like almost huge parts of that dialogue, once they determinist, that was a and when it became Gareth in that group, they were very similar to the hunter. I mean, they were the hunters. I mean, so it was a little bit of that where they're out in the wild, and that part, and a lot of the lines, even the whole "you taste better than we thought."
Right. Except that it was Dale instead of Bob. Yes.
Yes. Dale, who was romantically
involved with
Andrea. So wrap that head around that.
No, I don't want to. No, we're just there are things I can't unsee.
I'm so glad.
Well, they did. I mean, they did sort of touch on that a tiny bit in the show, and sort of like his feelings and looking out for her and stuff like that very early on. And they're sort of
like a dad thing.
Yeah, but they're very sweet in the comic. It's not creepy.
No.
But they're very sweet and she's still alive in the comic too, or at least she was when last one I read, which I have to get caught up on.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I'm at about 115, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
So you got a few. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, but as Jean's mentioned, there's the next kind of major baddie is quite the guy, and somebody that I don't know from a television point of view, since his vocabulary mostly consists of the F-bomb.
Yeah.
Different variations of it in different clever combinations and lots of rhyming. but it's just this kind of, it's almost it's like la la la, but it's not la. It just comes out all the time. So
reviewing that will be definitely in the 18+.
Yeah. Someone who refuses to swear, I don't know what they're gonna do. It'll be weird.
Yeah, he's extremely dark, and very crazy. I mean, the governor, I think, was a little crazy. I think he had some crazy to him, and I'm saying that mostly by comparison. He had some crazy to him. He was more calculating and really strategic.
The dead daughter on a leash was pretty freaking crazy.
It was, although if you I got the echo again. Although if you read the Governor book, which I forgot the name of,
Book of the Governor.
Yeah, there's.
I know. I can't remember what it's called either now, but yes.
Damn it. But if you read that, it sort of explains things a little bit. And it's not that heads in a tank aren't crazy. It's not that
heads in a tank are always going to be crazy.
Right. It's not that the daughter's not, or his daughter isn't being hooked up to the floor isn't crazy. It's Negan, however you say his name.
They say Negan, but
Negan has a whole other level of just wanton berserk violence crazy. Where I don't know that the governor was all about violence so much as strategery and sort of some other things that were going on, and definitely crazy, but it's a different ballpark of crazy, like mild crazy.
I'm not sure I want to see the ballpark of crazy that is crazier than the governor. Like,
oh well, and he's completely at peace with it because the governor put his aquariums in a room back away that people could. Negan's kind of like, here you go, this is what I'm all about. And it's
yeah, this is gonna be tough for me to watch. I think Don't get me wrong, I'll keep watching, but it's difficult. It's difficult to watch when there's so little hope. You know?
Right.
I need it to not be all black all the time, which is, like,
not a good show to watch then, just saying.
I know. But that's where the little pockets of relationships, like with Glenn and Maggie and Carol and Daryl and, Rick and Judith and even Carl, now that he's not a little asshat going, I really hated Carl at first, but I need those right moments to keep watching. There have definitely been overtones over the last couple of seasons where, and not so much this season, but like the last season, the last 3 episodes brought me back into the game, because at that stage I was just like, okay, this is so rough to watch and there's so nothing good at all ever again that I don't know that I can keep watching. They did pull it together and offer me something, and they got back together and they found some of the others and whatever, but I was very nearly out, so we'll see.
And then they were herded into a train car to get eaten.
Yeah.
But they were reunited.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how some of this stuff plays out. But yeah, I think Daryl's gonna get. I mean, I think this Daryl's gonna get angrier and angrier. It'll be interesting to see how he processes it. And I think it'll be a lot of what. And Carol kind of is in a weird spot, because she's kind of, I think, burned out a little bit in terms of, she's been obviously through so much and done so many things that I think she's tired, I think. And so it'll be interesting to see if those two kind of damaged individuals who are so kind of good together help each other, which that part would be cool to see.
That's what I'm really hoping carries us through.
Yeah, they seem to have a really nice sort of shorthand between the two of them when they were hanging out together, where they sort of discussed things, but not in a way where they had to bring out all of the details and vomit up all the emotions. They kind of just briefly, if something would come up and they would understand what the other person felt about it, and there wasn't a whole lot of ridiculous dialogue that had to go along with them, and that's one of the things that I liked.
They can sort of get the catharsis without all of the details needing to be out there and relived.
Right. They've always seemed to be very good together. Very, very, just their relationship, the way that they interact and stuff, and I do hope, I'm still hoping, I'm still shipping, still, but I feel like if they would have done it then, it just didn't seem like it was a good time for that.
No, that's true. It was nice to give us a little hint, like a little, but not to follow through on that. I think it was wise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, the other kind of interesting thing tied to that too is that Carol was the only one out of the group that even took the slightest chance on Merle, or to a degree, because one, she would call him on his crap in terms of him wanting whiskey at 8 o'clock in the morning or something, but she was also like, so are you with us? And she seemed to be trying to get him in there. So I just think that she is ultimately a kind of a healing force, or tries to be. And then, of course, when after all that stuff went down, she was talking to Daryl about him doing a good thing. But I do think that I think she's good for Daryl in terms of some of that. And I think
I agree.
She does have
treats him like an equal without it being like he had to get there, or he had to do some sort of journey, or he had to change in any way to get there. Like, she just has always valued him, and I think that has helped him get comfortable in his own skin to some degree or another,
I think the fact that they're both sort of damaged from their previous life also makes it easier for them to bond together as well.
Yeah.
So I hope that does something good moving forward.
Like judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
I just hope she likes Eugene, because Daryl and him are going to be like this.
I don't like him in the comic either, so yeah.
No.
I was not thrilled to see him show up. I was like,
okay. I gotta be okay. I haven't read any of it, so I don't have any of the history in terms of knowing all of this time that he didn't have the answer. But
Right.
seriously, hey, could anyone have actually been shocked by that revelation? I was not shocked by that revelation.
It was.
I tell you, he was
There's
like,
a
"Yeah,
bitter
I'm
pill
sure
to
we're gonna
swallow.
save the day." I'm like, I am not sure your little speech here is gonna actually stand up to peer review, because I don't think you can actually define peer review. So, no.
Yeah, but he's gambling. Nobody else in that group can either. Certainly not Dolphin Smooth.
And he
So,
correctly. Ah.
so
Oh.
You guys have
We need
officially
like
ruined Dolphin for me.
we need
by the way.
yeah, I was gonna say we need a meme of a dolphin with a handlebar mustache.
and a flat top.
No, we really don't. We really don't. We don't.
It would be so wrong.
But
On
so right
every
at the
level.
same time.
No, the one thing because in the TV show,
Mm-hmm.
I mean it would seem to and you don't know because they do while they said they're coming closer to comic. There was no guarantee that they're going to play it out, and
Right.
they could have done some things there, but he was dropping enough, just like you say, Bronwyn, to watch him. You go, I don't know, something doesn't quite seem right. But in the comic, I mean, he propped it up better because he had like a walkie-talkie that he actually, the first time they showed him, he had it in his hand because it was to pattern after one of the comic book covers. But he was like kind of in contact with Washington on occasion with this walkie-talkie, and that was part of the ruse to so that would have made it in the comic almost a little more viable, but also became the method that they kind of found out. There's no batteries in that walkie-talkie.
So it was like Rick's phone.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it was like same sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was easier to buy in the comic when you didn't have to listen to him talk.
That's
just
honest to God. Like, and it's not even that I don't like Eugene. He's sort of creepy, but he's not distasteful the way some of the. I prefer Eugene to Abraham, to be honest. I'm putting it out there. I mean, he's awful and gross, but he's not Abraham, so winning. But yeah, you cannot listen to that man talk and think, yeah, this is the savior of humankind.
We're all doomed.
It would be not worth living at this point.
And on that note.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us on our 2014 Walking Dead fall finale discussion.
Wherein we learn we are all doomed.
That's right.